Hello, Charlie Newton here again with Splash Youth Arts Workshop. I'm your teaching artist, and I'm glad and happy to be with you today. I hope that we will have a great class today. Today we're going to work in crayons. Last week we did some work with colored pencils, and we drew the Crayola box and a plastic cup. This time I want to draw the same thing, but this time with crayons. Let's get started. So, one of the things I want you to remember is that whenever you are making a drawing, it doesn't matter if it's just for practice or for a class or whatever. Um, Try to find something interesting. When you're sketching in your sketch pad, try to find something interesting about the thing you're sketching. So it may be mundane, it may just be a mundane, boring object, but the art is what makes it interesting. It's your hand, it's your approach to drawing the object. And for me, what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to draw with gray crayons. Since I'm drawing a crayon box, I'm going to try to use crayons to express my relationship or history with crayons. Of course, when we're kids, we start off drawing with crayons. I'm using gray because I want to find a light color. I'm going to use a different paper because this paper is so smooth. I don't think that I'm going to be able to get the marks I want. So I'm going to get a watercolor paper that has some grain in it. This is a mixed medium pad. So this has grain and it's going to pick up the crayon better. The tooth of the paper is going to give me something, give the crayon something to rest on. So right now I'm just sketching the width of the box. I'm going to draw large. Remember to draw large. So these three straight lines here are the first dimension, the first plane that this box is on. So this line, and that line, these three lines are going to be the same. They are perpendicular. Now I'm going to draw some horizontal lines. When I look at that box, I know that the left side appears to be higher than the right side. So my line has to be at an angle. Once I get this angle, and I'm not trying to be perfect with this because I want this drawing to be expressive. And the neat thing is I'm using crayons to draw a picture about crayons. So I know that these three lines on the second plane is going to be the same angle. See, these three will be the same angle. This is dimension 2. We're trying to hint at or make a statement about three-dimensionality. Now, let's do the third plane. If this angle is right, you notice this angle, the right side is lower than the left side. Then it's going to be the same here and here. Now the box has a flap on it. So I'm going to make that line curve here and curve there to indicate the flap. I can make changes if I want to. And so what I'm going to do to decide if I'm going to want to make changes, I'm going to sort of sketch in the image that I see on the box. Now, when the manufacturers decided to sell these crayons, they had to find an artist to design the box. I'm using crayons from this box here, So I have several different packs of crayons that came out of this box. So I have a greater choice of colors here. And this, you know what I do all the time? I put things down. Okay, I found it. I don't sharpen my crayons, but usually when you buy large boxes of crayons, they will come with a sharpener. I just twist and turn my crayon to sharpen it. I'm going to make this wider. So they find an artist, a designer, to decide what will the packaging look like. So that's a job right there. That might be a $50,000 a year job or more. I don't know. I'm not a commercial artist. But they get paid well, okay? You can raise a family on it. So one designer is going to decide the packaging. Then they're going to find another artist to decide what the script or the letters are going to look like. It's not a calligrapher doing this, but a graphic artist. And they decide, the graphic artists decide what art, they do the artwork. They create the artwork for the packages. So you see there's a banner here and there's a picture of crayons right there. A totally different artist will decide that. So as I'm drawing this box, I'm making some slight changes to fit in the graphic art, the graphics. So that's another job that might, you know, you can raise a family on that job. You know, you send your child to college. See, there are a lot of jobs in art, and I want you to realize that you can make a living doing art. You don't have to be like an artist that exhibit in galleries, you know, and you're looking for the luck of the draw. You can, artists use in everything. So we've discovered two types of artists. Now, the graphic artists, they may go to a firm. I'm sure somebody like Crayola, they're going to go to a graphics arts firm. What I mean firm, a whole business that maybe hire 20, 30, 40, 50 artists, you know, to come up with ideas and designs. And then they would choose one artist to be the lead artist on this deal. Now, once they've decided, a graphic artist can tell you more about this than I. This is just what I know, and I'm not even a graphic artist, but I have worked in billboards before. So, and then after that, after they make those decisions, then you're going to have to find a printer, an artist. First, you need to find a manufacturer to make the boxes, the millions of boxes, and you need someone to print on the cardboard. So you're going to have to purchase all this cardboard, then you're going to have to find a manufacturer. All these people are getting paid. That's the point I'm trying to make. The art field is huge. It's just that some of us, you know, don't realize it. We don't realize it, so we don't take it seriously. But art is everywhere. Artists are being paid every day. And this is just one thing. I'm just talking about making this crayon box. And of course, they have to manufacture the crayons. So an artist came up with this design for Crayola, and this aura here means that nobody else can use this. This is a registered trademark, and so only Crayola can use this design here. You see type here and everything. Here's another aura. Everything's protected. So no one can come in and steal the idea. All this is done by artists. You are wearing art. You're sitting in art. You're living in art. Some designer, people who can draw, and put it like that. This is a multi-trillion-dollar business, and I'm hoping that Splash parents will realize this, that your child can use their talent. They're going to use their talent anyway. They're going to, the most unhappy people you'll ever meet are people who have talent who can't use it. Those are the most miserable people you will ever find. So I'm going to do everything in gray, and then I'm going to go back with color. So you have an 8-year-old who draws all the time because they just like to draw. Send them to Splash, please. It's free. And it's free because I believe that every child deserves the right to be creative. And let me say this too, they will never be happy if they don't use their talent. This is one thing you'll find too, there are a lot of artists, children, they have issues in school many times because the teacher, if no one's celebrating their gift, what happens is you'll find that a lot of your kids who can draw or paint, they might have problems in school. It's not because they can't do the lesson, it's because they're bored to death. And if they don't have a good teacher, then they're going to be doing bad in school, but it's not because they can't do well, it's because the teacher don't know how to hold their attention. To do this, to draw, it takes some intelligence. I was an advanced math student in high school. I got my first job. My first job was with South Central Bell, the old telephone company. And I got that job because I was an advanced math student in this city. So don't underestimate your kids and don't underestimate art. History has kept some of us out of certain jobs. And so, we don't know, but just do a little research. You go online and find out. Maybe you could Google art jobs. Anyway. That's why we like to frame children's art. We don't frame everything, but when a child does something that I think is special, we frame it. And eventually it goes into an art show, and eventually it sells. It might take 2 or 3 years for it to sell, but it will eventually sell. Everything sells eventually. And we have started an online store to purchase children's art, and every time you purchase a child's art, you are ensuring that another child can take an art class, and that child gets half of the funds. I'm trying to do everything I can to not only teach children, but to educate parents and the city and stakeholders and people who are concerned about our children. So please do not dismiss. So what I'm going to try to do with this is to display the joy of crayons. I'm not even going to get too much into this is going to be more abstract than anything. I just made that decision. I want to see what I can do with crayons. I'm not concerned about the words Crayola and all of that. I want to try to express the joy of coloring. When we teach preschoolers, they have such joy in working with crayons, and I appreciate that joy. I even developed a certain style when I was in high school. Uh, I developed this style from a class that I took with Miss Charlie May Hurt. Some of you know her in Chattanooga. She was the art teacher at Riverside High School, and she showed me. And I'm not doing that style that I developed, but an intricate part of that. Not maybe I shouldn't say style, technique. An intricate part of that technique that I developed incorporates crayons. And you don't even realize it's crayons. I'm not using that technique today because I don't want anybody to know it. Sometimes you have to protect. Yeah, young artists, sometimes when you graduate from high school, don't show everybody everything, because people have been known to steal your techniques. They can't do it as well as you, but they will steal it. They'll steal your designs, and so you have to be very protective of your talent and your gifts. Very protective. So I'm just, whatever idea comes to me. I don't know why this orange looks yellow. Can anybody tell me? This is orange, but it looks yellow, so I'm not going to use it. Wow, I have no idea. I'm just going to, I guess I'll get a deep orange. So I'm just rambling on, I know. So this crayon box and glass, it's pretty mundane. It's boring. Now, you wouldn't just sit up and look at this like you would watch television, right? So, and this orange looks red. Now it looks orange by itself, but next to the yellow, it looks red. So now it looks orange when I want it to look red. Wow. So you can't just go by the color. You have to actually look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing and get creative. So now I'm going to get a dark red. This is called rouge, and use it. So again, remember, this is going to be abstract. Last week we did color pencils, and we made that look a little bit more realistic. I don't want to do that today because it's been done. We've already done that. So find something interesting about what you're doing, your practice, whatever you're practicing. And if you can find something interesting, you're practicing actually being creative. So you have to practice being creative. Some people, and I used to be this way, I used to think that no matter what I did, it was going to be good, but that's not true. I always did my best, but it was not always good. And sometimes you don't know it's not good because you haven't practiced enough. But don't let that be discouraging when you're not happy with what you do. That's just an excuse to practice some more. Practice does make perfect. Practice, practice, practice. Now I'm going to use some weird colors here. So what I want to do is somehow make this drawing show the beauty of crayons. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do that, so I just keep working. You just keep working. Just keep working until it's finished. You'll know when it's finished. It's finished when you have accomplished what you set out to accomplish. Now, I believe if I had done this on typing paper, it would be easier to see. So I'm just mixing the colors. Now this is a case when the crayons themselves are telling me what to do. The crayons are telling me, the paper, the crayons, you know, the medium is telling me how this should look. Because when you display your art, the people who see it won't be aware where your art came from. So it doesn't matter that much in this case how close I stick to what I actually see. Because remember, what I want is to show, why is it? Now, what is it about crayons that I appreciated? Why am I doing this drawing? That's the question I'm asking myself. Now, that's what artists think about. Now, I'm really into the medium. What will this medium do? When I say medium, I mean material. What would this material do? And the material, the medium, the crayon, is telling me what to do. It's telling me what strokes to make and everything. Did you notice I'm using cross hatching? I'm drawing. I'm going to have to find some different grade crayons. And this paper I'm using is mixed media pad, and it's 90-pound weight. You know what I'm going to do? I think I may, well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to say. I just had an idea. But I'll tell you if I decide to do it. So I don't know what the finished drawing is going to look like. I don't have a plan. I'm just building, we call this building the drawing. I'm building it up slowly. So I started drawing when I was 5 years old. And I fell in love with art at that age. And then I was trying to duplicate something that I had seen a teenage friend do. One day my mother had to go to the store. She had to be gone for 30 minutes. And she asked this teenage friend to babysit my brother and I. And he did. And he actually had a little drafting table like this in his house. They lived above us. We lived in College Hill Courts, 14th Street Court, and his nickname was Brother. I don't even know his real name. I never learned his real name because you know how it is. You're 5 years old. So I didn't know his real name. And he had made a drawing of Batman, and he also made a drawing of Superman. And he was like, "Come here, let me show you this." I was 5, my brother was 6. And when I saw those drawings, it blew my little 5-year-old mind. And that, ever since that day, now I started trying to draw Batman and Superman. I started reading comic books. When my mother is from Alabama, a little town called, she's really from Camp City. And so we would go visit my grandmother every summer. And on the way to my grandmother's house, it took about 8 hours from Chattanooga to get there. To keep me occupied, she knew what I wanted, comic books. So I started reading comic books. And matter of fact, I believe comic books taught me how to read. Comic books and my first grade teacher. Went to Archer Knob in the first grade. In the second grade, we moved back to the west side, and I went to James A. Henry School building where we hold splash classes. So, as you can imagine, it's important to me to try to find kids like me, like I was, little Charlie Newtons, who just like to draw, and they just need a hand up. I like to tell teenagers this. You know, you practice your art. You get serious about your art and about drawing, and you'll never be broke another day in your life. You may not be rich, or you may be rich, but you definitely won't be broke. Because you can make money just drawing a person's face. So you'll never be broke another day in your life. Let's take it seriously. And the better you get, and it comes with practice. I don't know why people understand that if you're going to be a baseball player, you need to practice. If you're going to be a basketball player, you need to practice. If you're going to be a dancer, you need to practice. If you're going to be a good musician, you're going to need to practice. No matter how much talent you have, you know, LeBron James have to practice. But when it comes to art, people don't understand that you have to practice. So splash classes is practice. Now every artist have their way of doing things, and we all have our way of seeing. So by me adding this violet or purple, I don't know, I just love this color next to yellow. But it's a very heavy color, and have to be careful. Now, I've been thinking about doing this drawing for over a week. I had the thought to use some, just now, what passed through my mind was to go ahead and get some pastels and use that to incorporate that, but I'm not going to do that. I just want to experiment with crayons today and show some of the possibilities of crayons. It's not always just trying to make something exactly like what you see, but it's always about expressing yourself honestly. When I was developing as an artist, I was naive. I thought that all artists were honest. I don't know why I thought that. That's naivete, because art is such a wonderful and beautiful practice that, how can you be dishonest? And, how can you be a jerk and be an artist? But I found out that you can be a jerk and be an artist, like people like Picasso and so some of the other greats that were actually jerks. But for me, art is sort of sacred. And I think it's sacred to me because it's the one medium that I can use to express myself. It gives me a voice. And it doesn't matter to me if anybody listens or not. At least I have the voice. So I'm going to make this glass, the top of this cup, wider, I think, because I haven't made it too small. I made it much too small. So I'm going to make it come out to here. Sometimes I will make I don't even know if the change is going to work or not, but sometimes things will nag at me. I say, I have to change this. So sometimes you do things and you're not going to be happy with it, but you can always learn from it. You're not going to be happy with everything you do because nobody's perfect. So you and I, we're not perfect. And we don't need to be, and nobody else is perfect. So try to learn from things. Okay, what colors can I use now? I'm going to go back with this color again. This is a sort of aqua looking color. This is sort of like Easter egg blue. Now I'm going to go back with gray because I'm thinking now what can I do to finish this? So I don't know if you can see this, but now what I'm doing is I'm going back in with this gray and I'm working deep into the crevices of the grain of the paper. So a close-up, you can tell it more with a close-up. I don't know if we can get that close, but I am going over a lot of the color that's already down, and I'm pressing hard with the crayon. And what that's going to do is going to blend some colors together, but it's going to give this almost a painterly look. But it's definitely going to blend. I want to blend these crayons. Still not sure about what colors, if any, I'm going to have in the background here. So I'm using pressure now on the crayon. You have to be careful. I'm actually, as I'm holding my crayon, I'm holding it right here in the middle and pressing with this part of my hand, like this. This is where the pressure is coming from, the top, like that. I'm just holding it steady with my forefinger and thumb. I don't want the crayon to break necessarily, so I'm trying to put pressure straight down. So I can put more pressure on the picture while maintaining the integrity of the stick of crayon. Okay, yeah, I just had an idea. You just keep working, just keep working until ideas come. Sometimes you just work and then one thing brings about another. And where does the idea come from? The idea is experience. Experience in all the work you've done in your life, all the practice you've done, you're building experience. Also, you gain experience by visiting the museums and galleries and art shows. So I'm using a lot of different colors. And this is more of my personal style. I love to mix up the colors. So at this point, it doesn't matter to me what color the crayon box is. Okay? The color I'm using now is, I don't know what it's called, mauve. It's a type of mauve color. So what's happening is by making this side of the box a little bit darker, you know, hopefully it pushes this forward a little bit. It's hard to push something forward in front of yellow though. But this mauve is a warm color as well. I'm going to go back. I could go back with black or blue or purple or brown. Hey, brown might be the thing to go back with. Brown is, for me, it's very scary. Using black or brown is very scary because it's so difficult to control. But brown is safer than black. So I'm hoping that you can see the interest that I have in color pencils. I mean, crayons when I'm drawing. I hope that this drawing says something about that. So I end up using this dark green to outline the box a little bit. Thought I was going to use black or brown, but I wound up using this dark green. I still may go back in here with brown. Now, some things I know don't touch. I'm telling myself, don't touch this. Like this area here, don't touch that. I know probably don't need to touch that area. I think I need some red. I'm trying to find a dark blue. So I am still cross hatching. I'm doing overlays. What I mean is I'm drawing over, laying color over color. And let me say this about drawing the mundane things. First of all, it trains your eye, and all of us need to train our eyes. I do too, even though I've been doing art for 50 years. Over 50 years, over 60 years really, if you want to count my childhood. So I started at 5. So I've been doing art for over 60 years. And whenever I stop drawing for a while, like I paint a lot, so I don't do a lot of drawing. So unless I'm teaching, I do most of my drawing when I'm teaching these days. But when I stop drawing, I find that I have to practice drawing in order to draw again. Much like a musician, if you stop playing your trumpet for a while, then your lips, something happens to your lips, and you have to exercise your chops and get them back, get your lips back. Same thing with drawing. If you don't practice, you lose something. But the more you practice, it comes back, the thing that you lost. So like I was saying before, just like everything else, it takes practice for everybody. Just because you're a professional violinist you find that the pros practice more than anything. Their days are taken up with practicing, and then they give a performance. But they may practice for a month before a performance. So don't be hard on yourself when things don't look the way you want them to. Just practice. And you will get better, because everybody gets better with practice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to enhance some of this line with this dark blue. So I decided not to use black at all. So I'm actually looking at the actual object. I'm not looking at a photograph, by the way. You guys are looking at a photograph that I took, but I'm looking at the actual object. I'm still referencing the object because I want you to know what they are. It's not totally abstract here. But it's a quasi-realistic drawing. Now, in today's art world, I'm talking about the fine art world, not the commercial art world. The fine art world would call this realistic. That's a difference between fine art and commercial art. So, and some people don't understand that. So my practice is as a fine artist. That means I'm trying to make some type of statement about art. I'm not trying to just do art just to sell. And a lot of people don't understand the difference. It's okay to do art just to sell, but that's not what my practice is. There's a different approach, a different approach to life, actually, when you're doing art for art's sake. And that's why people will make art whether they're selling or not. The true artists will. Some people define their art or other people's art by how much they sell. All they want to know is how much you sell. Well, that bastardizes the art and the integrity of the artist. Now, if you're a commercial artist, that's different. You are expected to sell. If you don't sell, you're not really a commercial artist. And you won't be working too long. As you can see, I'm finishing up. So do you see how what I've done is I've just kept working, just keep plodding along until finally you say, okay, that's it. That's it. I'm going to try to see what you see. I'm going to look at my phone and see what you see. I guess I can't.
So let's get started. Let's do
Can you?
program.
Oh, can't. Do we have a picture of that? Oh, it says the live video ended. It says the live video ended.
Well, not on my phone.
Have you ended that?
No, of course not.
Okay. Well, I can't see it. Let me see it and hold it up. Okay. Sometimes what you have to do is is, see how this broke? This is a perfect example. I didn't hold it. I didn't hold the, uh, the crayon right, and it broke. I don't throw away broken crayons. But what I was going to say, sometimes what you have to do, you have to get far away from the picture to see it. So Iantha, who's behind doing all the production, held up took a photograph and showed me what you guys see. And what it did was it distanced me from the photograph, and that's how I knew I needed to use yellow. I could see it. Yeah, I see it. This is how I knew I needed to use yellow right here by getting away from it. So I couldn't, normally in my studio, I would just stand up and walk way back. Also, you can squint your eyes, but I knew I wanted some yellow here to kind of, it's sort of like a reflection of this yellow. You know, it just needed yellow there. This mauve is a type of yellow, this mauve in the background, but it's not yellow. So I can actually put a lot of yellow on this side and it wouldn't hurt anything. When you finish your drawing, always sign it. Not like me, sign your, Splash Kids, sign your first name and last name and your age. That's going to do it. My expression about crayons is all practice, but remember I say practice makes perfect, and try to find something interesting about the picture, about what you're drawing, and then that's what you're going to use as a springboard for your art. So when I was sketching this crayon box and plastic cup, I wanted this drawing to be about crayons, not Crayola, but the wax of the crayon, the wax and the color of the crayons. That's what I want the drawing to say. I want it to say crayons, not Crayola box, not plastic cup. That wasn't interesting to me. We did that last time when we drew with ink, and then we went back and colored it with color pencils. I hope that you learned something from today's class. I hope that you keep practicing. Just fill up your sketch pad. Get your sketch pad and fill it up with practice. Don't just do anything. You know, some people get sketch pads and they just do a little something. But do a real study. Each page is for you to do a study. Each page is for you to study. Don't think of it as finished art. Think of it as a sketch. Think of it as studies. You know, I'm not going to frame these. I'm not thinking about art shows. I'm not thinking about how much I can sell this for. What I'm doing is practicing so that when I make my art, my true art, I'm going to have all of what I've learned. I'm going to put that into the art that I'm going to put in my exhibitions. So practice, practice, practice. When you fill up one sketch pad, buy another one. And personally, I don't do that anymore because I'm in my studio working every day, trying to work every day. So I hope that you learned something. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember, art is for everyone. Bye-bye.